Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Live Coding Sessions. My name's Kitch from SoundFlow. Today we had a question, actually a couple of days ago we had a question from Josh in the forum, and he's written, "Hi everyone, I'm using the region reverse a lot in Logic Pro X and I haven't found a command for that. Have I overlooked something?" No, Josh, you have not. It's something that I probably should add to the Logic Pro package, but I thought it was a good chance for me to walk through some of the quirks that we find using UI automation in Logic Pro. So let's head on over to Logic and just see what we're trying to do here. So if we have a region selected, in the inspector over here we've got the reverse button, which is what you want to click. So there's an easy way to do this, but it's not always going to work every single time, and we'll work through that. So if I go over to SoundFlow, I'm going to create a new script here, and I'll call it reverse region. By the way, these sessions are filmed live or recorded live, and so any mistakes, it just happens. Hopefully we'll get there in the end. Rock and roll. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the pick button to pick the reverse button. So if I click on the reverse button, as you can see, if I command tab over, and as I roll over things, it's going to light up in red. So I'm going to click that checkbox there, and then I'm going to go back and see that it's created a path to the UI element. So it's basically saying that SoundFlow, so SF stands for SoundFlow UI user interface, logic, the main window, groups whose description is inspector, and the first one of those, and then a whole bunch of other information until we get to the checkbox, which is the reverse checkbox. But this is a little bit convoluted, a bit hard to read. So what we're first going to do is we're going to use something that's called variable extraction to simplify this. So first off, I'm going to go create a new variable here using const. And I'm using const because this variable is not going to change throughout the length of the script. And I'm going to call it logic. And go equals, and then I'm going to copy this piece of code here and paste that there. So now that we've done this, we've reduced this amount of code down to one variable. So what we can do is every time we see this, we can replace that just with logic, like so. So now let's do another one. Let's do one for the main window. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to go const main window equals like that. And so now we can just copy main window and just replace that there like that. So again, let's make another one for the inspector. So I'm going to copy this and go const inspector like so, and equals, and put that there like that. So now we can copy that and replace inspector. And let me see, we've got a bit more to do here, but I'm noticing along here that there might be an issue, and I know this just because I've done quite a bit of scripting in Logic, but there might be an issue where if there's something that's added to the user interface in Logic upstream of where the UI element is that we're trying to address, it can sometimes change the position of everything. So, and I'm going to show you an example of that. And for now, I'll just comment this line out, and we'll start a new line here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the UI element again. So I'm going to click the reverse button. So Command Tab over to Logic and click that. And then that will give us that, that address of the UI element again. And then I'm going to start a new line. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to Logic, and just to demonstrate what I'm talking about, if I show the help panel up here, as you can see, this UI section, or this panel here, is before the regions panel. So what's actually going to happen is it's going to shift everything down. so it's not going to be in exactly the same spot. So now if I go back here and I use the pick button again, and I Command Tab over to Logic and select the reverse checkbox again, as you can see, if I scroll along here, everything is the same up until I get to the groups here. And then, as you can see here, it becomes the first group. That was when we selected it before we had the quick help panel. And now it's all items 1. So this one, when you see first, that is a similar way of addressing a UI element as all items 0, like that. So as you can see, it's changed the reference from the group, the first group, to the second group, or the 0th index group, or the first index group. So because of that, everything downstream of if we add the quick help panel here, it means that it's the UI element won't be found if the quick help panel is there. So what we want to do is we want to create a script that is really robust, that finds that UI element every time. So for this situation, I'm going to just delete all of this here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the headers, or the text fields that are at the start of each of these panels. So I'm going to pick the first one, which is quick help. So pick quick help, and then we'll go to the end here, start a new line. Then I'm going to go pick and pick the regions one there, like that. And that's all items 1. And we can do the same thing with the tracks, or the track panel there. And as you can see, it's got all items 1 and all items 2, and this one would be all items 0. So as you can see, each of those has a specific value of this the text here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the group by finding the first group whose value, whose first text field has a value of a region. And so the way that I do that, let's just move this down. I'm going to copy this line. And the way that I copied that line was I selected the line, and then I used Option Shift and then pressed the down arrow, and then held down Option and then just dragged it right to the bottom. So here we go. So all items here, we're going to change this, and we're going to use the find method. So we're going to use the find method, and what the find method does is it looks through each of the groups, and then will find the first that matches the statement that we're suggesting. So I'm just going to go find like this, and because these are groups, I'm just going to use G for group, and then an arrow function here, and then I'm going to say G dot children whose AX static text whose value region colon first, and then after this I'm going to go exists dot exi exists, like that. And now if I'm just going to put I'm just going to log this out like this, and if I open my log here and then run this code, it's going to find that group. So if I was to look at that group, I could go to the end here again, and I could go dot and then if I select the children first like this, and then put that at the end. Hang on, here we go. If I put that right here, and if I run that now, it's going to get me that static text field. And then if I put value dot value, that's going to give me the region one. So it's actually finding that there. So now this here is the correct way to get the groups. So I'm going to delete everything from exists here, take away the log here, and then I'm going to make this I'm going to call this the groups panel. Groups panel equals and const before that. So I'm going to move this up, and we don't need any of this stuff anymore. And what I'm going to do is I can see here that Logic, we've got that, so we can remove that because that's Logic. We can remove that because that's the main window. And then this we can change to Inspector, like that. And then we've got children's role. So we've got another one here. So AX list. So this is, maybe we can just call this const list equals like this. And from list, we can replace this here. So now we can see we've created a much easier to read script. So logic is sf.ui.logic, main window is logic.window, main window. Then we've got the inspector, we've got the list, and then from the list we're getting the groups. So we could actually even make this more simple, and we can go const, and we can go, let's call that inspector groups equals like that. And then in here, inspector groups. And so this is going to find the groups. Let's groups panel, like so. So now if I was to map out the groups so we can see what they are, if I go log groups panel, and now from there I can go .children, .map, and in here we'll just go C for child, and then child, and then if we run that, it gives us a list of all the stuff that's in that group. So the regions group. So as you can see here, we've got a scroll area, we've got the disclosure triangle, so and then we've got a text field and a static text field. So we could get the values of those by just going value.value, and we could run those. And as you can see, we've got the information that we need from there. So these two fields here. So this static text field was the region one, which is that there, and then this one, this second last one. So it's obviously reversed, and we get the name of the selected region that we have. So that's good to know that we've actually selected the right group by getting the group panel this way. And because we're not using an index or a magic number to find that group, it's always going to work. So even if I get rid of the quick help tab now and I run this again, it actually gets that information correctly still. So that's great. So now what we want to do is, because we've worked out where the group was, I'm just going to delete this and remove this here. And if I pick the reverse button again, so if I go back here, reverse button, and we know that all the way up to the groups right here was the groups panel. So now I can change this with groups panel, like so. And now this is giving us a reference to the checkbox. And we can simplify this down a bit more, and maybe we go, let's break it up here, and then we'll move that to there, and we'll go const, and we'll call this groups outline equals. So groups outline is the groups panel scroll area, the first scroll area, and the children whose role is AX outline. So now with that, we can put that in front of this. And now we can see that we have rows. So let's do this and call this const rows. So a lot of variable extraction here, but it makes for a much neater and easier to read script. So now we've got rows, and all items 16. So this is another magic number here that we need to get rid of. So what we want to do is we want to let's log out the rows and see what we've got here. So if I go log, and then we'll go rows, and we'll go map, and we'll go R for row, and then R for row. And if I clear that out and run that, as you can see, we've got a whole bunch of different rows. And right now, it doesn't give us much information about what's in there, but we could see what's in there. Maybe it looks like each row has more than one UI element in it. So what we could do is we could map from the rows. We could do .children, and then .map, and then go C for child and C for child. And I'll clear that out, and if I run that, as you can see, each row has got 2 UI elements on it. Maybe not all of them, some of them may have more, but it looks like, yeah, most of them have 2 UI elements. Some of them have sliders and checkboxes and whatever. So what we could do is we could see if we can get the titles of all these UI elements here. So let's go C dot, sometimes it's under title and sometimes it's under value. So I think it's going to be value for this. So I'm just going to run this and see what happens. So, okay, good. I was correct. As you can see, mute, and then we've got null. Obviously, that's not the way to get the checkbox values. But as we can see, we want to work out where the we want to filter out the elements to find the one that has a value of reverse colon. So that what we can do now is we can go we can change this to filter, and let me see, so filter and children, and then we can go find. Actually, no. Let's do this a more simple way, because we're looking for a checkbox. Instead of going children map, we can say maybe children by role, and we'll go AX. And the way that we can work out what sort of thing, what sort of role it is if we find one that's called a checkbox, and if we get the role value here, AX checkbox, and then we paste that into there like that. And let me just clear this out so that works. So children by role, AX checkbox. So let's see if that works. Okay, no, that's not what we wanted. So let's try that again. I'm going to do just undo to where we were before. So we've got rows map, children map, and the values. And then what I can do is go equals, and let's do reverse. Reverse and colon. Because we know that the reverse had a value of reverse and then colon. So now if I was to go find, and then find like this, and clear that out, and now we've got the row that we want. So now this is the row that we are after. And what we could do, I think there might be a better way to do this. Let me see if there is. Dot get. Now let's just go with this for now. Okay, so now what I can do is I can say const target row equals target row, and that's going to get the target row. And now if I go target row dot map checkboxes dot first. That's going to find the checkbox that we want. So if I clear out the log and run this again, we've got the checkbox. So now if I was to say element click for that checkbox and run this, okay, sometimes we get an error with this when using the element click, and this happens very occasionally. But if we see this error, a way to get around that, and it's probably something that we should cater for in the future. But let's try using Control Spacebar, and let's choose async swallow, and then set that to true. And I won't go into an explanation of that, but if I run this now, as you can see, the reverse button over here is toggling. So that's the way that we want to do that. So as you can see, we're no longer using any magic index numbers for UI elements to get the specific UI elements that we want. So then if I was to show the quick help panel again, and if I was to run this again, as you can see, clicking reverse still works, which is exactly what we want. So I hope that was helpful. There was a few ums and ahs along the way, but we got there in the end. So yeah, if you've got any questions about this, Josh, please reach out, or anyone else who wants to know more about doing stuff in Logic, happy to help, or anything that I've talked about in this. If you require further explanation, please visit the link that I'll put in this YouTube video, and maybe we can do another video focusing more on that. But I hope that helps, and rock and roll.